Here is something I believe a lot of people don't properly think through. What's going to be the driver for the next Bitcoin rally? Where is the demand actually going to come from? Because for every rally, we had somewhat of a story. We had somewhat of a source of the demand for crypto in general, right? In 2017, we had the ICO boom, a lot of new retail people getting in. In 2021, we had the story of institutional adoption. We had Michael Saylor spreading the word. We had Elon Musk putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Everybody expected that all kinds of companies were to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. This is not what happened in the end. But then, the recent rally, it was all anticipation for the Bitcoin ETF demand. Now the Bitcoin has launched, some initial demand came, but now that demand is somewhat stagnating in the last few weeks. So what's going to drive the next wave? Where is the demand coming from? If everybody's just drawing random lines on charts and says, okay, we're currently high or we're currently low, we're currently below the realized price or above that, and people make their predictions just based on this, then still somebody has to answer that question, right? Who is going to buy? Of course, there's the Bitcoin halving event, and historically, that was a pretty good predictor for future price increases. But the halving gets less and less important with each single event. Now, less than 1 percentage point will be the decrease in the additional supply per year. So it doesn't really move the supply needle that much. The main question is really demand. What's going to drive the demand? And I believe there's only 3 possible outcomes here. The first possible outcome is that potentially the Bitcoin ETF demand could pick up again. Right? Let's say a lot of the selling of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust has finished. Then the demand for Fidelity and for BlackRock will continue the way it is. Thus, we're likely going to see more absorption, direct absorption by those ETFs into traditional finance. That's one story. I'm not sure how likely that is though, because we actually see quite a bit of correlation between the outflows from Grayscale and the inflows in the other ETFs. In other words, there seems to be a lot of shifting simply from the expensive Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into the cheaper ETFs. It doesn't seem like Grayscale Bitcoin Trust people are simply just taking profit, and it's completely different people that invest into the other ETFs. It seems like there's simply just a reshuffling happening of the existing capital, mainly. So at the beginning, there was a lot of Bitcoin ETF adoption, but now in the last weeks, not so much anymore. But that would be one possibility, right? It would be one possibility to simply just see a revived demand in the Bitcoin ETFs that's currently somewhat stagnating. So that could push up the price higher. Another driver could be justified rumors around an Ethereum ETF. So far, it looks pretty bleak for the Ethereum ETF. So far, it looks like the SEC is actively fighting the Ethereum Foundation. And the main problem is, once an Ethereum ETF gets approved, then this opens up the floodgates, right? It opens up the Pandora's box, and then all kinds of other ETFs might have to be approved as well, right? If Ethereum gets approved, why wouldn't there be also an ETF on XRP? Or why wouldn't there also be an ETF on Cardano? There's no real logical reason for that. So once the Ethereum ETF goes through, then we simply see a lot of other ETFs as well, and this is definitely not what the SEC wants to see. So there will be continued pushback against such an ETF. Thus, I'm not sure if that's going to be the next thing that's going to fuel the next rally. Now, here's another potential driver. It could be a random white swan event, right? Suddenly, maybe a central bank is going to purchase Bitcoin. Suddenly, another country is going to declare Bitcoin as legal tender. This could, of course, generate quite a bit of excitement as well. But how likely is it that something like this happens? I'm not so sure.
This needs to go to 1 million, or March buyers now will make millions. This is how you get the clicks on YouTube, but this is not how you beat the market. To beat the market in crypto, you need to be better informed than the rest. You need to be better skilled than the rest. You need to do better blockchain analytics. You need to track other people's wallets and know what is the smart money doing. It's the boring educational content that forms skill that doesn't perform so well on YouTube though. That's why I created the premium membership. Feel free to check it out. We are tracking influencer wallets to find out what they are buying before promoting promoting this on YouTube. We've got a lot of tutorials to help with on-chain analytics, to help with wallet discovery. And of course, there are also plenty of chats where we help each other and also one-on-one conversations with me. So I'm messaging every premium member one-on-one directly. Once you're joining, you will get a message from me and you have the opportunity to directly pick my brain. Feel free to check it out. TheBitcoinTrader.com link is down below.
So really, what I believe is the most likely scenario here, I cannot put any probabilities on this, but I believe it's the most likely outcome. It is that we simply see continued profit taking by the long-term holders, because a lot of long-term holders are currently 2 to 3x in profit in Bitcoin. They might want to rebalance their portfolio, especially when the momentum is currently dying down. So we're going to see more profit taking from those people, and at the same time, the demand for the Bitcoin ETF will continue to stall. Thus, we're probably going to continue to see somewhat lackluster price action, somewhat declining prices in Bitcoin, which then means at some point that this can turn around again, right? But at what point will it turn around? Probably only once the prices are clearly low. And that's once the price is below the realized price, right? When the market in aggregate is at losses, that's when it's always a good time to buy Bitcoin. Currently, that price is at around 28 to 29,000 US dollars. So this is what I believe is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm personally set up in this way. I'm prepared. In case we do see a drop like this to $28,000, $29,000 in Bitcoin, then I can load up heavily. If we don't see such a drop, that's also fine with me. I still have crypto exposure. So I'm trying to be perfectly balanced in the way that in case it goes up, I'm happy with the profits. I don't feel like I have to FOMO in. In case it goes down, I still have enough dry powder on the side and I can move, for example, bond funds into crypto. I can move some stock funds into crypto. I'm somewhat broadly diversified across different asset classes, simply to be able to stay flexible. So really, when you're super bullish on crypto right now, simply answer that question. Who is going to buy? Where will the demand come from? And if you don't have a clear answer on this, or if you think it's going to be, say, the Bitcoin ETF demand, then explain why the demand isn't growing anymore, why the balance on all of those Bitcoin ETFs isn't going up in the last few weeks. Why is that happening? And why would that then suddenly change? Maybe there is a clear and good answer to this, then I'm very much open to hearing this, right? Feel free to comment this down below. But if you're simply just winging it, if you don't really have a clear answer to this, and you think it's just random that the Bitcoin ETF demand isn't growing right now, and it will simply just pick up again because the sun is going to shine again, then this is not really a strategy, right? This is not really a way to think about the markets. It's way better to have something concrete. And everybody was anticipating the Bitcoin ETF, right? Everybody was talking about it, and that was then pushing up the prices. So usually it's not really a surprise what's driving the next rally. Usually these kinds of narratives get talked about quite a lot. But I don't see any new narrative besides the Bitcoin ETF that's been thrown around a lot, besides the Bitcoin halving. But again, the Bitcoin halving, it won't shift the supply-demand dynamics that much, right? Less than a percentage point per annum after the halving. It's all 100% psychological if it might have some kind of impact, right? It might be simply because people think that it's going up, that this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if enough people think something goes up, then of course nobody is selling it. Thus the price indeed will go up. But I'm not sure yet how strong that narrative really is. I am of course watching very closely what could be the next narrative. Right, what could drive more excitement. If suddenly a lot of people jump onto crypto gaming, people that never had been in crypto before, then this could of course drive prices quite a bit. But so far we don't see any crypto gaming adoption outside of the crypto space. Or if suddenly we really see how a large asset manager is going to tokenize real world assets, when we suddenly can trade, say, flats in London or in New York on the blockchain, right, fractions of a flat. If we suddenly see a lot of adoption of those kind of things by serious asset managers, then of course this could drive something up. But we have to see something. We have to see excitement in one narrative. And once we do this, then of course I'm also more than willing to deploy more capital again. But so far things seem to be somewhat calm. And calmness doesn't create attention. Calmness doesn't create excitement. Calmness doesn't create more people jumping onto an asset class, pushing up the prices. And that's why I'm not that bullish anymore. That's why I'm somewhat neutral, and that's why I'm set up in a way that I can react to any kind of price movements. If you're going down, I'm happy, I can buy cheap. If you're going up, I still have enough allocation, I will still make enough gains. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. Feel free to also check out our Telegram channel. The link is down below. See you over there. Cheers.